Hello and welcome. Today we are going to show how to move leads and contacts or information from one object to another using a report and mapping that back to another object. So in our use case here, what we've done is we've created a report quite simply inside of Salesforce. This is just a report that's provided all new leads for my project object, which is what we're going to be syncing over to. So what I've done is I've actually created a custom object to take all of our information over. So we have our custom object here called Leaping People. You can see it up here at the top. So this is something we actually did with our product as well, since we only have one Salesforce org and a couple of different products. We wanted to separate our leads out from our normal pipeline to something else that we could also leverage. So here we have all of our leaping people, and you can see that I have a whole bunch. So you have 150. Now I want to move some new leads over to this project. So, like I said, what we've done is I've created a new object for it. So there's our tab that I showed, and here is our custom object. Our custom object, really simple. We just have a company field, which is a text, their email address, which is to the email field, a first name, last name, a lookup to the lead, so I can see them in my original object, and also a lead source field. Quite simple. So our object and our information looks like this. So if we look at leap 1, we have their lead, their first name, last name, their email address. This particular one didn't have a lead source. Their company. So I can use this to leverage all sorts of information. So I'm going from our regular lead object into a custom object, but you could use this into a existing object, or if you want to move your leads over to a specific campaign or something along those lines, you can do that as well. So I am using production to production, actually. In this case, it's development. It's development to development. But this could easily be a sandbox to production or production to sandbox, whichever way you want, as long as we have the credentials. So here we have our mapping, and I will show you this from scratch because we already have this one mapped out. So we have Salesforce Report to Salesforce, and it's called Leaping Object. So let me scroll down to the one that I have for. There's our Leaping Object. Now we have our report, so it's asking our credentials. Now, mind you, I am using dev to dev, so this is my developer account. And we're going to tell it what folder our report is in. So we have my custom reports and our report. So we have new leads for project object. We click on apply. So that knows which one we're going to. And if we look at the Salesforce side, like I said, I'm using dev to dev, so there's my dev credentials. And so we have that information over. Now all we're going to do is map over our information from our report side, which is right here, to our custom object side. Again, this could be pretty much any object. So all I simply did was grab the report column headers here. So we have our company / account name, going to our company field, our email to email, and I will show you what the report looks like, just to show that it works. So essentially I'm just grabbing the column headers from first name, last name, company, lead source, email, and their ID value. I'm going to use the ID value to find them. So company, email, first name, last name, our lead source, and we have the lead ID, which goes to our lead reference field, right? So since we have the ID value, we can use the ID value for our reference. So this is one-to-one mapping, so anything that's on our report, we can go ahead and map over. So I can click on save. There's nothing really to save. And excellent. So now that we have that done, we can go ahead and flip the switch on this one, and we will click on activate, and we will say run now. Now what that's going to do is it's going to grab our report from the same Salesforce org and move that information over. So we had 151 records on our report side, right? So if you scroll down here towards the bottom, and we're going. We have 151 records. And Syncfrog is now leaping over all 151 records into our custom object. So now if we go into our leaping people object here, we should have some new records being processed. Since it's still in process, you can see that the count's only up to 238, and it'll continue to rise once this is completed, processing all of the records, which it's almost done. So we have all these people over. Now you can change the view so you can see their first name, last name, and anything along those lines. So again, this is just something that we moved over. So we have, the object name. So I have a record that I know, their lead, first name, last name, email address, the source if it was provided. So I know I'll have one that has at least web on it, and their company and all that information. Now you can see that I have the activity history, so I can send emails, create tasks, events, notes, files, all that good jazz is on this object. So that's how I can take information from inside the same Salesforce org and associate it to a non-linked custom object, or even a standard object if I wanted to.